Morning everybody, thanks for coming on a Saturday morning. Today is the third workshop that we have for Plugfest 2013. Any of you have been here for the last 2 weeks? I see. Also quite a lot of returning visitors, that's awesome. Right, so today there will be 3 sessions going on. The first session will be done by Tom, right? Ken Lam from Immersion. So Immersion is a company that provides an SDK for developers to enable you to have different form of vibrations on your device, on Android, right? It is a free SDK for developers to use, right? So they have a tool with all sorts of different modes of vibration, right? That you can incorporate to your app or your game, right? So one such example that probably you can think of for the competition is that you can design different modes of notifications to your users. Say if there is an emergency, rather than a regular vibration in your pocket, right? You can alternate the strength and the duration and the pattern of the vibration to notify the user in case of emergency, for example, right? You can also think of it for accessibility purposes, right? For those elderly who may not be able to see the screen that well or may not react so fast, right? These are also possible way of notifying the user that, okay, there's something important that you want to, you probably need to take note of. Of course, these applications are in apps, right? If you are developing games in your courses in future, things like that, you can also look at that into how that could help you in improving the gaming experience for games as well. Okay, so without much further ado, right, I'll let Ken do the rest of the introduction to Immersion.
Okay, so thanks. My name is Ken. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but I have joined Immersion last year, and I'm responsible for Immersion's operation in China. So also I will be helping the marketing team out to evangelize Haptics into the developer community. So today's topic I'm talking about is the topic is enriching the user experience of your apps with Immersion's Haptics SDK. So in this workshop, I will be talking about how Haptics is enriching your apps, how does Haptics relate to the user experience, and also how, and at the end I will go through it in terms of coding, how to use our Haptics SDK, and how to add Haptics to your apps in a quick and fast way. So let's get started. So before I'm going into any detail, I would like you to say, if you got your laptop here, just start it and then start downloading things. So we will have several example code packages that I would like you to download from the URL there, which is your first app with Haptics and your balancing board, and how do you do custom effects, which is designed by your own and added to your app. And also, I would like you to download the UHL, which is actually the layer of abstraction for the app developer, so that you don't need to care about what's going on under the hood, what's the exact mechanism that you're generating vibration, because developers, I think they don't like to deal with different hardware with different conventions of generating vibrations. So we have a universal haptic layer, which you only deal with that haptic universal layer, and then you will be sure that you can generate the vibration you want. And also the Haptics Studio. Haptics Studio is the tools we have, I would say, is the IDE for designing haptics, which you can add into your app. And you can design your own haptics. I will repeat that. So, and then after that, those are the tools. And then there is something which you can download to your mobile devices, the Android devices, which is, first one is a Haptic Effect Review app. Because in our UHL, it comes with 124 pre-made effects. I would say it's scans. effects, which is you can just call it with an index, and that's it. You don't need to do any design, you don't need to do any integration. You just call an index. Say for example, I just want a triple click, and then you call the triple click, and then it will generate click, 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 the haptics. So that's an app which would have you to choose those effects, because it's an app which, when you have downloaded, you will find that it's actually categorized into different categories like the explosions, collisions, something like that, and then you can try it out first. And then, oh, this is the one I like, and then you can just add that to your app, And then finally, that's the Immersion Haptic Bridge app. It's a haptic bridge, which is basically a daemon installed on your device, which would be able to talk to the Haptic Studio, so that when you have designed a haptic effect in the Haptic Studio, you can play it back on your device. So I will, and for all these examples, I will go through it hands-on with you in the afternoon session. And I would like you to take the time to download it, or if you have encountered any difficulties in downloading, then I got some USB thumb drive here with those tools. With those workshop materials in here, so you can just copy it to your laptop locally. Save the time for downloading, put it off the internet. So maybe I will pass this around, and if you just copy the materials in the photo workshop. So make sure that you return the USB drive to me after you have done with it. So So while you are downloading the files, I would like to draw your attention to, I'm going to make how the workshop is going today. So let me make it clear first that I would like to run it as a workshop inside of a lecture, that you are not going to a class. So please be asking questions freely. So if you have anything that you would like to dig deeper, or you would like me to explain on anything, just stop me and I will answer them. Because I think that we got plenty of time here, so yeah, it allows us to dig deeper into the materials. So just interrupt freely. And before I go ahead with the presentation, I would like to talk about how we are going to run it today. So we have a morning session until 12, and then we have an afternoon session starts, I think is it at 2 or 2? Yeah, 2, right? And so in the morning session, there will be more talkings going on. I will be presenting most of the time, and I will see if time allows, and maybe we can start the coding session earlier, but let's see. So in the morning I would have to, it's necessary that quiz Immersion. I will be going on to introduce my company, and then I will tell you about what is Haptics itself, and then why is Haptics so important, essential as part of the UI experience, the mobile UI experience. So how can the Haptics improve the you can come up with a better UI, UX with user experience with haptics. And what are the haptic methods across the platforms? Because Android is only one of the many platforms we have here on the mobile devices. And if you can just imagine that there was like a Bada on Samsung. There was Symbian, and Symbian, though Symbian is officially announced that, and there are also Windows platform. So all of them have the haptics, actually some vibration, I would say, vibration method, which is they will try to make the haptics design available, but they're all different. So I will talk very little bit about that. So after that, I would say why we are concentrating on providing a haptic SDK on Android, and what is Immersion's haptic platform for Android. So in the afternoon, most of them will be the coding tutorial that we will use the Eclipse. So can I assume that you have already set up your Eclipse environment? So you all Android developers already? Yeah, if not, then maybe you will need some files to set it up. Like, you can also, there are two folders on the USB drive. Which one, the workshop is the workshop material, which are all the coding example package, and also the Haptics Studio, and also the UHL in there. And there is another folder which is called the tools, which is actually the whole Eclipse environment, which you, and everything you need to start developing on Android. But that one is large, so only if you haven't set up your Android developing environment, then you don't need those files. So in afternoon, and also I would point you to some additional Haptic resources. So is there any question about the agenda? Okay, so let's move ahead. So who is Immersion? So Immersion, I think most people may not have heard about it before this workshop, because we are a small company, but we are a very specialized company. We have a very deep expertise in the haptics itself. So we have established in 1990 something, which is more than 10 years now, and we are already listed on the NICE. And so up to date, our technology is being shipped in 1 billion devices, and it's not just microphone, because Immersion starts in the gaming sector. Yeah, so have you all experienced those rumble packs or the vibrator, the DualShock controller, or the vibrating controller on the Xbox? They are actually all of them licensing, I would say, licensing our technology to for those haptic effects, for those vibration you feel when you are playing the games. So other than that, we have also have some casino machines, and basically everything that would vibrate, we are involved in that. So we have a very strong intellectual property portfolio. We have 1,200 plus, and some of them granted, and some of them pending patents. And what's more interesting is we have just settled with Google and Motorola, because Motorola, they would like to use haptics, but they won't pay us. So basically go to court and no, you have to, the cost that Motorola, you have to pay them. So, but yeah, of course, yeah, it's settled. It's not, yeah. So we have made our name that we have actually enforced our patent, which is we are telling you that yes, we are holding the expertise, and if you want to use it, you have to come to us. So we have a lot of customers, and some of them are very, I think you have heard about it for a long time, like Samsung, Nokia, they have a phone have haptics. Samsung, they have several models, like their flagship, the S3. They also have our solution in it. So there is something called the auto haptics, the audio haptics. They will call it. That's our intellectual property, and that's our solution. And also there are other models, like I think the Note 2. They also have our technology in it, and also S2. I heard that they have it, but I'm not so sure. And so LG, Toshiba. LG is we are working with LG now. Toshiba, we have a tablet with them, and then Fujitsu. We just have a phone. I think it's 2 models of phones, and Sony, Microsoft, and yeah. So we are everywhere actually, and we have people in Europe, Korea, Taiwan, Japan, US, and Canada, and they have used that. We also have people in China, which is I am based in Hong Kong, but I'm running around the whole Greater China region. So that's all about our company, the background of our company. So this slide is just showing how there are so many devices with our technology. So you see the steering wheels and all those, yeah. game controllers, and a lot more. So yeah, this is an interesting figure, right? So this is called a homunculus, which is actually a depiction of the nerve endings, or that you have on a touch sense, which is, you can see that the hand is disproportionately large because most of the touch sense comes from the hands. And if you have heard about, there are a lot of nerve endings on the fingertips. So so that's why that's basically set up the basis that why we think that haptics on a mobile device is very, very important, because we are always holding a mobile device when we are using it, and so we have our hands holding it, and then so haptics is actually one of the big aspects other than the visual and audio, which in a user experience. So okay. So we have made some points which how touching, or the sense of touching, is so important to our everyday life experience. So you would actually, there are two terms which is I'm also puzzled at the beginning. That's body condition, and also the yeah. So the embodied condition is they told me that is because there are a lot of things happening around us, but which is important and which is not. Which is we have to respond it immediately, and which is that we can just put it aside and I can deal with it later. I can come back with it to it later. So the touch has has a very important part in it. Like, for example, like if you got heated, you will say, oh, you have to invade or you have to defend yourself. If you feel that something is hot nearby, you have to, hey, I may have to get away from it, because there is some danger over there. And actually, the touch itself is something is very direct, but the touch itself is something which is like I think similar to audio and visual, which is you cannot exactly describe to people. You can feel it yourself, but you cannot describe it. You will always find it very difficult to describe your touch sense to other people, because it's something very personal. It's something your perception is different from the others. So that's why we think that the touch itself is very important to our everyday life experience. And then so you have a whole lot of descriptions about the touch, like make my skin crawl, touching crawl, and then how this grab juice, trash the imagination. So we always describe situation with something related to touch, but actually you will find that this is very hard to be communicated with words. What is gripping? What is clenching? Or yeah, what is pushy? So everybody's definition or everybody's feeling of that is different. Okay. So part 2, which is actually we find that the touch feedback is always it's always omitted or is insufficient in nowadays media. Say we have very stunning visual effects, like it looks like there is a hand grabbing the beer bottle. And then for the other one is very stunning effects, and also you can make some very stunning audio effects. But in the media, you have no feelings on it, because the touch, the tactile sense, tactile feedback is missing. It's just not there, and then so you can, well, it's very visually and audio, and yeah, and audio will be very stunning, but there is something missing. which is exactly why we think that we have to actually add the haptics to it, and then so it is completing your experience on a media actually. So this looks like an audio button, and when you push it, usually it looks like, oh, it's pushed it. And even if you have displayed such a button on your phone, the screen, you press it, and then visually, yes, it is touching. You have touched it. But you, from time to time, experience if there is no vibration or no tactile feedback, it's just like, well, did I really touch it? So it is very important that we also added, when you have pressed the button, you have that sense of it's pushing back and it's vibrating. So I think that's the most easily understood how important haptic is, because that related to your everyday experience. And there is point 3, which is we think that the tactile feedback makes human communication intimate and emotional. So I think you all have the experience of setting emoticons around. That like if because I think you agree that you are sending emoticon because you think that the words itself is probably not conveying something emotional. Like for example, you say, I like you, then I like you. You have a very degree, but if you just send an emoticon there, and then you will add some context or add some more feelings to it, so that, or you are saying something very plain, and then if you don't add it, you fear that the other person may misunderstood that you are being rude, you are being unhappy, so you will send a smiling face over, so that it's trying to relax the atmosphere a bit, so that the other person will say, oh, he's probably not that serious, or he's saying that in a context which is he feels happy, he's not angry or whatever. So we think that the tactile feedback is another layer, which is even more meaning to the words and also the emoticons. Because, like for example, if you are sending a sentence to, let's say, your wife, girlfriend or boyfriend, that love you, then you send a heartbeat of vibration to them, and when they feel the heartbeat, they will know that, oh, that's I know that she or he cares about me, and she loves me. So that's a very rich experience. So that's why it's the haptics this is a very good example. Is the haptics enriching the experience. So we have done a lot of researches, and then people, that's the comment of people, like there's no substitute for human touch, which is from actually biomechanics section, that sometimes you want to keep in touch, but you have nothing to write, and then why not just send a haptics over? If you are angry, you don't want to say any word, then you just say a very strong buzz over, and then the other person will say, whoa, he or she is really angry, and I better be careful. Or you can just send a very mellow heartbeat over, and then you don't say a word, but the other person will know that. Yeah. So, and then I have a advice about touching her hand, and from time to time, words will make the situation worse rather than improve it. I think we all have that experience. So, in person, you can look in their eyes, see their mannerisms. So I think touch itself is basically conveying a message other than what you see and what you hear. So that's the point we have made about why we think haptics are very important, and why it is why we think that we have to do something on that. We have to provide a way in which you can add haptics to your apps and actually to enrich that experience. So the next one would be how to design the haptic tactile feedback. So is that a question about what I have just talked about on the points of? Yeah, sure.
We'll be covering like when you use the keyboard as a haptic, right?
Yes.
So what is the difference between this and what we are talking about? Are they using apps that run?
Okay. I think so. I think what you're talking about is the confirmation type of haptics, which is when you press the key, you know that you have pressed that.
So what's different between haptics like this and what?
And then that's actually, I think what you're talking about is like a push a button, which is the confirmation type of haptics. I would say see. That's the most common type of haptics we have encountered. But what I'm talking about is, other than just the confirmation, it can actually convey emotion.
Right. So the keyboard, the soft key, right? The developer created the soft key. They're running on your haptic, or is it like built into the hardware? Sorry,
okay. No, that's there is two ways. You can have some effects built into hardware, and you just call it. But most of the cases we generate it with software. So is that your question?
Okay. So because you said there's a IP, right? IP over here, right? But it's actually the handset itself must have this feature before you can use the software to activate it. Right?
Not really, because the Haptic SDK I am going to talk about is the software layer, and then it will detect whether there is our solution in the handset itself. Like, for example, if we found that there is our solution on the S3, Galaxy S3, it will use our solution to generate the haptics, which is bound to be better than the other way. It's because we have fine-tuned it to work with the device's hardware parameters, because we have a different kind of motors, different kind of amplifiers. So it would be giving different kind of experience or performance. But if there is there isn't any our solution in the handset, don't worry. Then we have an emulator, which we are using the stock Android vibrate method. Because Android they have defined a vibrate method, which have to be present in standard Android framework. So we emulate it, but as you experience it with emulator, we just try to make it feel like the one we have that have our solution in it. But it's not 100% replaced. So in fact, it's less optimal. Performance is you can have something similar, but it's not exactly what you want. So to make it simple, if you're using the Haptics SDK, you don't need to worry about the hardware underneath it. Yeah. It's just a matter what quality of haptics you got.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What if the vibration is disabled on my phone?
You mean there is a master switch disabling all the haptics, right?
Yeah.
Oh, if the user chooses to do that, then there is no haptic generation. But it's a matter of choice by the user. I know that some users, they switch over from the iPhone because they turn off the haptics on Android because I don't experience haptic on iPhone, I'm not getting used to it, so I turn it off. But most people, they start using Android phone, they got used to haptics, they will say that which is the other way around the opinion. So I thought there is no haptics on iPhone. So it's just a matter of choice. Yeah. So we allow the user to choose whether you want it or you don't want it. Yeah. Or we actually allow the user to choose how much haptics you want. For example, you only want it in a buttons confirmation. You can do that, or you want it to be all over UI, or you just want in a particular, like I just want it on a chat box. Yeah, that's actually totally controllable if you allow users to do so. Yeah, that would be too much if you allow them to fine fine-grained control of it. And in our experience, probably not necessarily just a master switch. Yeah. So, is there any other questions?
Which phones you know of that doesn't have immersion solution?
Doesn't have? Basically, a lot of folks don't have a solution in it. So I can only name a few which I'm sure that they have a solution in it. But for those that is not mentioned by me, then probably they don't have a solution in it. But they will always has a vibrate function, which you can turn on the vibrator to its maximum strength for a period of time. Choose to. So, for example, I think the Galaxy Note 1, they don't have haptics in it. Yeah, solution in it. So, yeah.
But it's actually a newer phones have, right?
Some of the newer phones, because I think if you're talking about like, because the haptics is out, you've got license fee, you've got some hardware costs, and for some low-end models and cheap, like if it's selling, for example, below 200 Singapore dollars, those are considered more cheaper phones and more low-end ones. They may be more cost-sensitive that they are not adding our solution into it. Yeah. And or they will think that, oh, for those low-end phones, we don't need that high quality of haptics. That's purely a business decision sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, but for the high-end ones, yeah, so, there are quite a bit of them, quite a number of them have our solution. So, okay, then let's go ahead and we'll decide the topic. So, it is actually, so there's three main goals that we want tactile feedback to achieve. So we keep these three goals in mind when we're designing the tactile feedback. So we make the phone more usable. We have research showing that when we are adding haptics to the keyboard, people will think that, oh, I make less mistakes. And so they think that, oh, it's more usable, the phone, with the content confirmation. And somebody said that, oh, I can't go with it if there is no haptics, and I found that I always make mistakes. I don't know whether I have pressed buttons, so I keep pressing it, and then it's bound to have some repeat keys that I always have to use a backspace to delete things. So yeah, so that's one goal. And then the second is make the apps feel more satisfying, which is like, for example, if you're playing a game, you have explosions, and the explosion is so strong that it will rumble your phone. It's like, wow, it's like another layer of experience other than just see the video or see have the sound coming out. And then it brings our friends within arm's reach, which becomes to the communication that I have talked about. So, yeah.
My question is, how much power consumption it takes for the vibration?
Yes, I think if you turn it on and you play 2 hours of games, then it's like 1%.
Additional 1%?
Yeah, just additional 1% of power consumption.
Because I always thought they consume a lot, so I off it.
Well, actually, there is I think they will make a little more about that. Actually, our haptics is actually saving, it consumes less power than the Android Vibrate. Because the Android Vibrate, they always turn it on to the maximum. But in our haptics, we have varying strengths. So in average, our power is lower than them if we're turning on for the same period of time. And also, there is a good one they have made is you don't turn off your car radio to save some gas. But it's just 1% of it. And it's 1% is you turn it on and play it all the way for 2 hours.
So the keyboard haptic.
The keyboard haptics, I would say, they consume even less power because the tick is like taking you 10 milliseconds. So yeah, but I think you cannot type more than like 30 or 40 letters per second.
I guess the screen takes more power than the
Yeah, exactly. The screen takes much more power. Yeah. and the backlight of the screen in particular. So yeah, about the power consumption. If you're interested, I can send you a link, or because we have done some research on it, because everybody asking about it. And I asked the same question that I first joined Immersion. Yeah. Okay, so those are the goals we have when we're designing tactile feedback. Yeah. And I'm not exactly telling you how to do that, because there is no technical procedures, steps to take to design a haptic. Because the design of a haptic is like an art, which is like you're drawing a picture, or you're composing music. It's exactly the same, because it comes to the feeling, which is when it is only like what music is good, that it's different to everybody. Some people can compose good music and some people cannot. That's an art which you have to take time to master, or you have the gift. So there's a haptic field communication example which I've talked about, is because we pay quite a lot of attention to the communication, because we think that that's the ultimate value of the haptics itself. It's not just you press a key and that's one of the views, but I think that's one of the very basic views. So the first field communication is we have actually a test app. We have used in-house app. When you start the app, you will have your finger touch, and then you move through it. Then you have a trace, and then if the person from a remote location that they see the trace, and they try to catch your finger movement, when your fingers movement overlaps with the other side, there will be a haptics going on. It's quite interesting that it's something like you're really in touch with the other side, with the person from the other side, because when your movement and his movement on the screen overlaps, it gives you, say, for example, a buzz or some vibration. It's quite interesting, and we have given them to some of our subjects. They also think that it's very interesting, and it feels intimate with people from the other side. So the second one is actually the woman is approaching a glass door, and she knocks on it. When she's knocking, you hear the sound, and also you feel the phone vibrating. So it's really like she's tapping on your phone's screen. Yeah, so it's very interesting, and you can imagine there are a lot of applications that you can put on for such kind of communications. So the other one is gaming, which is this is a pinball game, but it's actually the two sides are linked. So if you have the balls flying to the other side, like through the ramp, through the tunnel, or you just through the hole, then you have different feeling, and you feel that, oh, the ball is coming. And when the ball is also hitting the wall and bouncing off the wall, then both sides can feel that the ball is bouncing off the wall. So it's like you are playing with the other person in the same location on the very same table. So it adds a communication element. So these are how we think that the haptics can communicate. And we have actually learned a lot when we were in the gaming industry. We are still in the gaming industry, but we have since then branched out to a lot of other, like nowadays we have a major focus on the mobile, and we used to be on the console games. And say these are the major titles that we have. I think if you have played with them, like Gran Turismo, Halo, and Legends of Zelda, and with the Rumble Pack, then you will have already feel the vibration that comes along with the game. So there is an interesting story actually about the PlayStation. So if you pay attention to it, if you're a fan of PlayStation, when PlayStation 3 just came out, they have removed that vibration in their DualShock controller pad. I think the reason is they don't want to pay us for putting that vibration in it. But so they have argued that the user don't like the vibration. Why we should be continue to put it on the haptic controller? But actually, quite reverse. The fans increase the immersion. We combine all the audio, visual, and haptics, and then reduce satisfaction. Then increase the stickiness. That's very important to the games because you want the players to play more and more indulge in it. But what we think is the number one reason for adding the haptics is if you care about what you're making with your games or your apps, and we think that because it's increasing the potential of revenue of your games. Why is that the reason? Because actually up to this point, and because we have very stunning LCDs, we have very good audios in the handsets, like you have some beast audio handsets with HTC, but everybody is looking into aspects which they can differentiate with the others. So a lot of those big OEMs like Samsung, LG, or whatever, they are looking to contents which can make their phones stand out from the other competitors. And apps or games with good haptics is one of their targets which they are actively looking into. And then if they think your game is cool, and then they think, oh, your game is giving good experience to the users, and it is going to increase the sales of their phone, they would talk to you and they will agree to bundle your games with them. And that would be a huge amount of money and also reputation for you. So, okay, is there any question about that content I've just presented? Okay, then let's talk a bit about how to code haptics in mobile apps. So as I have mentioned before, that actually nearly all the systems allow you to program some kind of haptics, just to the extent how detailed you can control how the haptics are being played back. So we have we have done some study on major platforms nowadays. Some of them are actually out of the game already, but anyway, we have put it here for the sake of a comparison. So for the iOS, is actually the most unforgiving platform for haptics because it basically don't allow you to do anything. It just allows you to do some fixed vibration or saturation and nothing more than that. And then obviously if you can just do that, then it's not good for the games because for games it's meant to be you need a lot of variation, a lot of different levels that you want to control it. But so that's why we don't have any development on the iOS because it won't allow us to do so. And nowadays, up to the iPhone 5, there is still very little vibrations in the iPhone itself because again they don't want to pay us. And they don't want to be suited, so they're just not putting anything in there. So the second is the Android. Android, there is a vibration class which comes with the Android open source package, which is a standard within the API, within the Android framework. So unless you don't have the hardware, then you will have to support the vibrator class, which it will allow you to turn on the vibration to a maximum strength for a user-defined time, and that's pretty much what they allow you to do. And we have actually extended that vibrator class to include an extended method which you can control the strength, control the duration, and making periodic effects. And yeah, basically you can control the parameters, including how long you want to turn on and turn off. So it's going to be with that Immersion API, which I'm going to talk about very soon. And actually you can make some very complicated or complex haptics effects. So for BlackBerry is similar to Android, but just the naming, they're using a vibrator controller. They allow you to control the intensity. And for Windows Mobile, we have actually worked a bit on it. And they are same with Android BlackBerry, but also it's just the naming of the class and Bada, the Sage Story, and the Symbian. Also, actually, for all these platforms, we have actually worked on it, but it turns out that we found that the Android platform is the most proliferated platform nowadays. So we have our focus on it. For the other platform, we have done some experiments, but I think it's pretty much put it on the shelf by now. Say, for example, the Bada and Symbian, I think they won't be used in any future devices. Say. Windows Mobile also. We have also worked on the tablet on Windows 8. And yeah. So that's basically the situation of haptics or vibration support in different platforms. So yeah, we have chosen Android because we have 600 Android device manufacturers with 7,000 models, and it's increasing every day. And we have to promote the so that's why we focus ourselves on the Android. And because Android is also open source, we have a lot of groups to make changes to it. And so we grabbed this opportunity, so Immersion created a free, and I will emphasize that it's free extended method, the SDK I'm going to talk about, which is we don't charge developers anything for using our SDK to put haptics in your apps and games. And we call this the Immersion Haptic Development Platform for Android. And all we are asking is you just give us credit. If you have used it, you just add a line that you have used the Immersion Haptics SDK, you have used, this game is powered by Immersion Haptics technology, something like that. Because we are not making profit out of developers using our SDK. We are making money from the handset manufacturers. So, okay. So, is there any question on that haptics on the mobile device, the different platforms? Okay. Then let me dig deeper on the vibration actuators. So all our emphasis is we have an extended vibration method which gives you duration control, intensity control, and also periodic effect generation. But what's really good about the Immersion extended vibration method is we have actually encapsulated or we actually saved the developers from caring about the underlying vibration mechanisms, because there are a lot of like fine tuning and also a lot of parameter tuning on the how to generate good vibrations with different types of hardware. Because the characteristics of the vibration elements, we call them vibration actuators. The vibration actuators is more like a technical terms, and you just think it like a motor in the language term. It's something that would generate vibrations instead of some motions, but they're still motions. So, so our Immersion extended vibrations, they try to emulate similar effects on different devices, so that for the developers, if you have tested your app on one device, you can be sure that you will get something similar on the other device. So So, yeah, I've brought this along with me today, which is a different type of, we call them actuators or motors. So there are like 7,000 models of handsets out there, and they're not like iPhones, because for iPhone you know that there is only one device, and you know that they are always the same in terms of hardware and GPU. So when the iOS developers, they are very lucky that they write their app once and they will know that they work the same in all the devices on the market, because there is only one type of hardware there. But for the Android devices, there is a problem, which is a challenge. I would say there is a challenge which is that you have so many different kind of devices using totally different hardware. So for example, the actuator is the same. So we have basically, on the market, we have 3 types of actuators nowadays. And I would just pass them and you can take a look at that. Sorry. So there are 3 types of motors, which is, say, for those on the left column, is we call it ERM, is an eccentric rotating mass, which is a motor, ordinary DC motor with a shaft, and then it attached to a mass which is not balanced. If you still remember your physics class on Newton's mechanical laws, that you know that there is a reaction and action and reaction. If you are swinging an imbalanced mass, you will be generating a reaction in the other direction, and then because it's imbalanced, you will generate a reaction which is like is not it is actually shaking. So that's how the vibration is generated with this type of motors. And for the other ones, there's called the RA. There's the you can see those cone-shaped ones, which is they have a spring hanging a mass in there. And you can just imagine that it's like you're shaking the spring and try to get the mass moving, and the mass will vibrate, and then when the mass is moving, then it's again the action and reaction. If you still remember the physics class, and then the third type is the matchstick one is called a piezo, which is you have a piezo material. The piezo materials is simply to make it. The simple description of it is if you apply a pressure to it, it will generate electricity. But for this, and also the vice versa is true, that if you apply electricity, electric field over it, it will the shape will change. So if you clamp it to a fixed length, you can imagine that if you apply electric field across it, and it will extend or it will contract, then it's basically bending. So if you put a mass on it, then you are shaking the mass, and again, action and reaction to generate vibration out of it. So we have these 3 types of the actuators or the motors, and all of them are being used in some commercial devices. So most of them will be using ERM. Some of them, like the S3, the more expensive devices, will be using ARA, and the other even more high-end devices will be using the piezo, but that will be just, I think it's not more than 5 commercial products using the piezo because it's expensive. Yeah. It gives a very, very subtle vibration haptics effect, but it's at the same time very expensive. So yeah, but we will see that if people's are getting more and more used to haptics, and they want higher and higher quality haptics, and we can see that we are going towards the direction of using the LRAs, the linear resonant actuator and the piezo actuators. Okay. So yeah, any questions about that, or anybody want to know more about that? Okay, so just compare it, and I think it comes back to the question where would it be very power consuming on using the haptics? Because as I have mentioned, which the Google Vibrate, they only allow you to set duration, they don't allow you to set strength, so you always have to vibrate at maximum strength. And for immersion extended method, of course, we can set the duration, but we also added we can set the magnitude, which is the intensity. And we can set a frequency pulsing, which is like a periodic effect. We have timeline design, which is you can combine the simple vibration with periodic effect to create something very complex. And then we also have some dynamic API functions for those parameters above. So it's basically we are providing tight control on vibration to you. And that's a comparison between our method and them. So for the first one is the battery usage. And then again that I have them already mentioned it. Because we also control the duration, the magnitude, frequency of vibration. So for vibrating the same amount of time that we're bound to use less energy, or we're bound to use less of the battery than you're using ordinary and from the vibrating method. So there's only one effect for Google Vibrate, and we have 124 pre-made ones. And if you have downloaded that Haptic Review app, you will see what are those 124 effects. So to give you an experience, I have already it open here. You can just try it out. You just pass around and try it out. Yeah. So because you can only turn on the actuator for fix the string for a time, that it only gives you a strong bus, and you cannot use it for long duration effects because you don't want to turn it on for a long time. But with our extended method, you can design it to be like more variation across your effects, which you don't need to turn on your vibrator all the time. And the Google Vibrate, they don't have any customization across the different user types. So they are bound to generate different feelings across different devices. So for the Immersion one, we have actually made some customization across those different types of devices which I have shown you, so that the developer will be able to get a very similar effect, similar feelings across the devices. Of course, it's not the same. It's not realistic that I would say the ERM feels the same as LRA. It's not true, but we will try to make it feels more or less the thing we want. Okay, so this page is just the quick start guide. You have got all when you registered. You have registered. If you haven't got it, I have some copies here as well, and you can just get it. And they're showing the step-by-step guide, which how to use our Haptics SDK and how to integrate it into your app. Just follow the steps, and then I'm sure that you will be able to start adding Haptics to your app in like 15 minutes. I have gone through the steps it works. So and also that's the Haptic Preview app I have just mentioned. Feel free to download it from the Play Store. It helps you to choose the effects when you have no idea what type of effect you want. Because it's like you can see that we categorize it in the single clicks, double clicks, triple clicks, and also we have ramp up, ramp down, fuzz, and then we have some more complex one is collision, explosions, weapons, which you can experience and choose the one you want. So when we are working on the code example, you will get a chance to know how those effects being called how are they triggered, and basically how to use them. And also, it's very handy that you have the sample over here for your reference. Say, okay, if I want to use a double sharp click 66, you tap on it, and then they play out the haptics. And then at the same time, it's showing the source code which you should be adding to your apps. The location which you want that haptic to trigger. And all of these, we have extended all of these, and this is not available in the Google Library methods. So, have anybody got it downloaded to your device? Yeah. Just play with it.
Yeah. Once we switch off the master vibration, yeah.
Yeah.
Once we switch off the master haptic feedback, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing will work, or is there a way?
Yeah. If you have switch off that haptics, the master switch, yeah. No, the Google Library will ignore it, and then yeah.
So there's no tricks there to play your game.
I think that it comes to the choice of the users, as I mentioned before. That if they don't want the haptics, just don't play anymore.
But we can actually pop up something to ask the user to switch it on.
Oh, right. Yeah, you can use it. But I think for the current implementations, they have the vibrate itself is put under the sound category and settings, and it's a matter of choice, because I think for some of those manufacturers, if they think that haptics is a very important feature, they will try to get the user to turn it on. Then, maybe as you said, they just have a dialog box that will try to get you to turn on. Yeah. But most of them will be like the user would dig into the settings menu, and then they try to turn it on or turn it off.
So currently there's no way actually can switch it on behalf of the...
Actually, yes. But being a good citizen, you have to abide with it.
Okay.
Because if the user has chosen not do any haptics, no vibrations, and if you are doing vibrations, they'll think that, oh, this phone is something's wrong with it. It's out of order, or this phone is actually they will think there is something wrong with the phone or some software bug. Why did I turn off the vibration and it is still vibrating? Yeah, what's happening? Yeah. So we obey to that master switch. We have kept it. So is there any question on the haptic effect period? I don't think there's much to it. Yeah, sure.
What is the lifespan of this vibration actuator?
Oh, you mean the actuators?
Yeah.
It differs with different manufacturers, different models, and I can only say that we have a lifetime test. We would run it like for 14 days, and we try to make, I think, something like a million cycle of turning, stop, turn, stop, turn, stop, and then we will have a report where we will generate report on how much the response time degrades and how much is the vibration strength degrade. Because the motor, when you are using it, when it is aging, its characteristic is also changing. Yeah, but for the lifetime, I think it's like we count it as the cycles. So yeah, because it's a matter of how many cycles we turn in. Because it's not just the timing. So we have done like running it like 14 days before. I think it's a million cycle. And some of them they fail. So okay, yeah. Let me give you a little bit more about those different types of actuators, characteristics on that. If this is, I think, is the most commonly used among phones nowadays because this is cheap, and it is giving you a relatively stronger vibrations than the other two types of actuators. And so usually if you remember your circuit class, the motor itself is like a RC circuit. It's a resistance capacitance circuit which you give them a waveform of voltage and you just vibrate. The shaft will turn and then it generate vibrations. So they are also used in the old days, in very old pages that in the old days. And yeah, actually most of the phones are using them. And but what's good with them is they generate strong vibration usually. But what's bad with them is they are slow to ramp up, to accelerate because of the mass, and then because of the way they have to turn the mass, and then they are also yeah, that's most of the or the disadvantage is that they take a long time to ramp up to the maximum vibration. And that means if you take a longer time to ramp it up to the maximum vibration, that means that you can do less variations per second, per fixed period of time, which is means that you cannot do something very subtle with it. Yeah. You can only up to a certain limit. So for the ERM itself, the scientific rotating mass, there are two types of form factors. One is the very common one. Is the bar type, we call it. You can see that there is a advanced mass and then the DC motor usually. That they are trying to turn the mass to generate vibration. But because you can see that the handset today is very thin, and then putting this bar-shaped ERM into a phone is a challenge. It's always a challenge for the mechanical engineer. So the manufacturers, the motor manufacturers, they come up with a form factor which you have a disc, a cyclic rotating disc, or a coin which you rotate disc, and you try to rotate disc to generate the vibration with it. But for this type of motor, is usually is even slower than the bar-shaped one. Because you can see that the moving mechanism is actually generating even small force which you calculate. The acceleration is even worse than the bar-shaped one. So again, they're not going to allow you to generate very subtle effects. So yeah, the second type is the linear resonant one, which is you have a wave spring. You can treat it as a spring. You have a mass, and you are generating a magnetic field trying to move the mass. And then when the mass is, then the spring is generating a periodic force, which would the mass will be moving in the direction of the spring, and then it would generate a reaction which will be in the opposite direction to the movement of the disk. And for this type of actuator, the advantage is the response time is very good. So you can start and stop it very fast, which we would usually describe as very crispy effect, which is you have a very sharp clicks. You can have a very complex effect because you can control it in a very stop it very fast. You can make a lot of variation within a fixed period of time. But the disadvantage is it's usually generating a weaker force than the ERM. So if, for example, you would like a very strong vibration ring phone alert notifications, then probably somebody will complain that the RA or that phone is not generating enough strong enough vibration that they always keep missing calls. So for some devices, we know that they're putting two actuators in the device, one the ERM and the other is the RRA. So that they will, when they're doing a ringing alert, they will use the ERM to generate very strong vibrations and very simple vibrations. But if they wanted to like haptics from games, from apps, they will use the RRA to generate more subtle effects. Okay, again, the RRA usually comes with the cone shape, so it's easier for the mechanical engineer. So they actually like to use the RRA, but it's at the same time it's more expensive than the URM. So it's always if you you get the benefit with more money. So the last one is the piezoelectric actuator. It's actually not consuming the lower power consumption. It's actually using a high voltage, like for example, from 30 up to over 100 volt across the piezo material to bend it. But there is virtually no current, so no power consumption. So it responds fast, and actually, this you can treat it like a low frequency speaker, but it's generating vibrations. For the other two types of actuators, you can only generate a very monotonic frequency, and for the RRA it's the worst. You have to generate the exact resonant frequency, or you will get many weird things like the delay, and also you will get very weak vibration if you are not stroking it at the natural vibrating frequency of the spring. And for this one, we treat it as a gold standard, which is, we call it the HD haptics, the high definition haptics, because it's not only vibrating haptics, but it's also responding to the lower band of the frequency of your signal. So you can just put it's like you're using a subwoofer to play. It's being used in several devices from Japan. Like Fujitsu, they have a device, they have a phone using piezo, and NTT Docomo, they have a tab using it. And there is a Korean tablet, the PanTab one, they're using the piezo actuator. Yeah, I think there's more than 5 devices being used, but there are some incoming projects using these type of piezoelectric actuators. But they're really very, very expensive to use. And also, you can see that it's much larger. It's like matchstick, so it's giving a hard time to the mechanical engineers. Okay, so it comes to power consumption. So you have answered the question a couple of slides already. So yeah, so we have used it for 24 hours with 2 hours of gameplay, and also some phone calls and things like that. We found that in the game we use less than 1% power, and probably, like as our MC said, that probably the screen is using much more power than the vibration. So that's the analogy. I'm not going to continue again. So yeah, we have that consumption analysis. So I think it's a couple of pages. Just spend some time to review it. Okay. So, is there any question about the presentation? I think it's pretty much it for the. I think it's we come to the coding examples. So probably we can. So has everybody already got those materials in your computer? On your computer? Yeah, maybe I will let you to get the materials onto your computer first. And then also, have you all already set up the Android development environment with the Eclipse? Yeah, because for the coding examples, the coming coding examples, it would be more interesting if you are working with me. You're with me on the Eclipse, because I'm going to demonstrate the examples on the Eclipse. So, do anybody need that? I think there's still free stacks out there. Just the Eclipse. Have you already downloaded from Android?
The Eclipse, but
okay. Actually, they got a bundle. And I have that here. You can just copy it and just run it.
but the Eclipse, but the how you
they will have a specific bundle. Android has so that it will be easy for you at home. Because it's voice tracking, I think
you are copy easier.
Oh yeah. And there is a day we using we just yeah. Actually that's not every year though. You still have to Is that ready for me first time? It is ready by now. So it's probably you can use the one just extract it.
So far, I think that the music system, and if you don't have
you just process
on the tool,
yeah, that is actually need to do a case of not yet. I think everything is set up in a way that there's no version of the debate. So you have to install the in the file that you can. Now then they will
which folder? In this folder?
Yes. Oh, the app long. You can put it on the desktop because I think you have to put it on the
Oh, there is a component in our music.
yeah.
I see, I see. So I need to extract.
You can extract it in a location if you have a shortcut.
So the extract when I install which I will particular file.
No, you don't need to install it. Just extract the package and it's ready for use. You don't need to do any install. But just install the JRE account.
Mine already have.
Yeah, I think so. You may already have, but the Eclipse itself is looking for JRE directory within the total.
Oh, within the.
Then we install the Eclipse that we already use the JRE here.
Yes. For this version, I think they have made it self-contained. So you will have to install it inside. And I'm telling you.
It won't be competition. It's not very high. Successfully but he didn't ask me anything.
There is a box of condition.
Just now when it's like install, there's no other option.
There is a checkbox which you will.
Can I do again? There's nothing she asked just now.
It's not doing in a very conventional way. They're asking you, like, there is a checkbox which change destination of the entry because like the destination.
Oh, this is what we are specified here. There's a file not found.
We got like the last 10, you know, I retrieved
There's also another one that on software. But it's different, right? It's depending on your system. So I'm not sure.
What is it package? Using the EXE file.
From the inside.
So, I think some of you may not have the requirement ready yet, but anyway, I will try to go through it, and then we will continue in the afternoon anyway. So, yeah. Just start one example, just carry on with the others. Okay, sure. Okay, so I will assume that you have already extracted the UHL file you got from the workshop material. I think the file is called UHL_3_ something and .zip. When you have extracted, you should be able to see a folder which the content inside is. You have an include, which is pretty much not, unless you want to do a console application, then I don't think you need an include folder. So the other two, the doc, I mean you can unzip it and take a look at that, and it's actually the API document of the UHL. But for the examples of making an Android app, I'm just going to use the .so file, which is from the name you may be able to figure out is an emulator. And the UHL.jar is a Java library, the archive, which contains our UHL API. So let's go through it step by step how you are going to add it to your first app project. So for the first thing you may want to do is you extract the example. My first Haptic app. You extract it first, and you should be able to get a bunch of files in there. Okay, so I'm using that the ADT bundle from Android for the development, which. So maybe it may be different from yours development environment if you have set it up earlier, because I think this bundle is the new things, which is meant to be more convenient for the Android developers. But if you have set it up in the old way, it's fine too. So the first thing is you want to import the project. So we have the my first app project extracted, and then we just get to the package Explorer folder. We got to the package Explorer folder, the frame, and then we do a right click here, and then you will see the imports. And then you type, it allows you to choose an Android, existing Android copy to workspace because we already got the package. We are not creating new projects. And so it would ask you for the root directory. You just browse it to the. So it's So if you have gone to the correct folder, it will instantly find the project in it, which is my first app activity. If this does not appear, then it may be pointing to some wrong location. So it's up to you whether you want to copy the project in the workspace or you want to work in the package folder, but I would usually copy it into the workspace so that I would preserve the folder. And if I would like to check anything before I make any change, I will always get back to the original package. So after that, you just click on the finish. And then you will see that the package the project got imported and also is open. So when you first get the package, you are bound to have a lot of errors in there, as you can see there. Why are those? What's happening with those problems or errors? The launcher cannot be resolved to a type because the launcher itself is a class within the Java archive, the uhl.java. And at this stage, we haven't included the library yet. So it will complain that I cannot find the launcher class. So the next step will be, say we get back to here, that we copy the extracted lib emulator.j.so file to Eclipse. And then after that, you also add the external jar to it. But for these steps, there is one, somebody has asked whether we need to copy the uhl.jar folder. And yes, because it's up to you whether you are using the ADT 16 or before, or you are using the ADT 17, version 17 or after. Because in the old ways, you have to add that external jar, but in the new ways, you need to copy it to a lib folder under your project. And for the ID I have used, the version is I need to do the copy the uhl.jar and also the lib emulator.so into the folder. So come here, we just new. We create a new folder and then we give it like libs. And then you have that here. And then we also create a folder for the line here. So according to the instructions, I'm copying that, drag it over to the libs, copy, and drag it over here. Okay, and you will see that the problems or errors has gone. Because now you can find the launcher class if you want. And also, don't forget to include the lib emulator.j.so. Because if you don't include this .so file, the app itself will still compile and you can still generate the APK, and it appears that it runs on the devices you want to run it. But there is it would generate errors. It will be closed if you're running a device without the immersion technology, because the reason is simple. The emulator itself is if you it found that you don't have an immersion, the UHL found that you don't have an immersion solution in it, it will try to use the emulator to generate the haptics. But if you don't include that emulator in there, of course, then it will run into error and it will quit. So don't forget to add emulator if you want your app to run in any devices. If you want to. So after that, you can actually hook your phone up to the Actually, you can hook your device and you enable USB debugging, and then you connect your device to your laptop, and then you can choose it to run as Android application here. And we've got compiled, generating an APK. And it will be running here, and you can test it with when you press the button, play that button, you will feel the vibration. So, do anybody manage to get it running on your device? Okay. So you can actually pick any devices you want and any phone you want with a vibrate, and then you can run it on your device. And this is the first example you will experience of adding haptics to your apps, which is just adding the vibration to the button press. So, so far, any question about that? So, if there is no question, so let's go through the briefly and see how you use the UHL in your app. So it's a package, and then so you can see that we are importing the UHL launcher class from UHL the Java archive up to here, and then the others is the itself. So in particular, you will pay attention is this is the segment of code we have added to it. Because on creation of the app, which is like you are opening the app for the first time, and when it is created, then you want to initialize a launcher. The launcher is you can treat it as an agent for you to trigger a haptics event. So we've got a launcher, and they can try and catch stuff. And there isn't much to, that is very simple example. So we only have a button play if and click. So if you have developed on Android, you know that the Android user system which you just register that there is, you just call out a button and you just register a click method to the button you have instantiated. And whenever that button has been pressed and it knows that you in your activity, your task, you have a handle to you have a handling function to handle that click. This click will get coded, and within the click you can do whatever you want. So in our example, we are doing the play. You can see that there's a double strong click 100. So it's an add launcher dot play dot is launcher dot double strong click 100. The launcher dot double strong click 100 is actually a you can treat it as an integer index into the library, the library of 124 pre-made effects, which you want to play that particular effects. And I would encourage you to change this to another effects. Say, for example, you can change it to triple strong click. So you can see that the index has changed it. Before it is the double, is the 15, and if you get triple, and then you just save it, and again you run it on your device. When you press button, you will got another, which is the triple click. There's a matter of text, or whether you change it or not. So it's just that simple. If you have multiple buttons, you do the same. You just call the launcher.play with different type of Haptics. And actually, to generalize it, it would be you can actually create 124 buttons to, and each of them is playing one of those 124 effects. And it's essentially the Haptics period of apps.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
This simulation is in Windows environment. Have you all tested in Ubuntu environment?
In this one?
If I use it in Ubuntu, using this simulator in Ubuntu, any problem?
Oh, actually this is not a simulator, this is the development environment. Yeah, you can use the Ubuntu one. Yeah.
So you're trying on
actually, I would seldom use it in Ubuntu, but if you install the Eclipse and then you set it up to develop on Android, it's the same. You just import the project and then you include those libs, and that's the same. And then you can play it on your device. And, yeah. It's just a matter of you set up the Eclipse properly on Ubuntu. Once you have done that, it's all the same. So it's not actually not an emulator, simulator. It's if you actually run it on your device. So, yeah. Yep.
Is the play message the synchronous message?
The play message? You mean this one?
The play. My launcher dot play.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a synchronous message.
What do you mean by synchronized?
How I know the play is complete?
Oh, you are synchronized is I think it's not is you. Yeah, you don't know that it's finished or not. You just fire it. it will start. Yeah, and there is a locking mechanism within the daemon, which it will make sure that if you are playing one effect, then you are not able to play another at the same time.
Okay. So what if I call two continuous?
If you go two consecutive, it depends on whether you have a queue on that, and if you don't, then I think the second one will be dropped. If the first one is not finished yet.
Okay. What if I rotate the device? What is that?
Rotate the device?
Yeah.
You mean rotate the device?
During the play, during the vibration.
You mean just rotate it?
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't think there is any effect on it. So, because when you're rotating, it's just redrawing, and if we don't put any haptic effect on the withdrawal, then it is a click handling. So you mean that when it's rotating, there is only a click, there is also a click event on it?
Yes, we have a lot of problems.
A lot of problem, you mean?
I mean, we create something.
I'm sorry?
If we recreate something.
I think if for this example, it's only for button click. But if you, as you said, if you have put some haptics into that screen rotate, then when you rotate the screen, you generate haptics. And if there are multiple events of rotates, then it will probably cause problem. If you rotate it and you just generate a chain of rotate events, then you will have to handle it when you are writing code. Yeah, so, but to your question is, there is no mechanism to tell you whether it has finished it or not. But usually, it's not going to tell you, it's not going to tell exactly the time it is finished. So if you're playing very, very long, non-stop periodic effects, then you will need to stop the effect first and break it. It will be safer. So this is a very, very simple example. And so if there is no any question, then I will just pass it back to MC, and then you've got something to tell you.
Okay, so thanks Ken. So right now it's 12 o'clock, right? Let's break for lunch, right? We'll take a 1 hour lunch and let's all be back in here by 1 p.m. Okay, for the second part of his tutorial. Okay, thank you. Okay, anyway, there's also some Android pins over here, so if you like, you can come over here and get pins.
We have some keychains, rings, and some souvenirs here, the stickers that, please, yes, yeah. Just get it. Thank you. Yeah. Just get the pins and. Hey, have you got some shoes? Oh, you mean the T-shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yeah. How is it? The materials is always oh, actually, you can always download it from our website. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you just get into there and then you download SDK and then the app. And then for the examples, there is a section which is if you get into the Haptics developer website, you will always samples. You can download the full packages. Actually, I don't usually use an emulator. You can see that I always open my phone. Yeah, you have to feel it because you can run it on the emulator, but it's meaningless because you don't feel the haptics. And it would be better to feel it because you have to run it.
Okay, sure. Just in case I can take a picture. We are running
Can I check that your ADT is it 16 or 17?
I think
16 or something for 17.
I think the ADT is 17. That's the
I want to ask you 2 questions. I cannot make it for the next part. Like when you go to this website, the SDK, do they have instructions of
You mean the SDK itself?
yeah, the coding is the steps to
Oh, sure, yes. You have you got the brochure?
the brochure has it.
Yeah, the brochure has a step-by-step guide, which is basically
How to start it.
Yeah, how to import the package, how to create an instance. Yeah, how to create an instance. That's actually the step-by-step guide. Yeah, you follow these steps and you will get the you will get it from me from the developer. The development environment. I think you can just download the one from the developer.android.com. They have a bundle.
There is the codes that you are using. For example, it's from just now that mobile app, the free app. The preview app.
Oh, yeah, and how would I say that? The launcher is you can actually our preview app is written by UHL, Universal Machine Learning, and it's just you can see there are a lot of categories and then you can see there are a lot of different kinds.
So it's inside the UHL.
No, it's using the UHL and this is actually a very simple example of how to trigger.
So like for the list of the Haptics, how do I find?
Oh, actually you can browse through the source code and I think they include in your site. I mean they have it in it. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's in the UHL. Actually, it's in the UHL package. You have a copy folder, and there is a UHL package, and you can have the auto index. And actually, if you're using the preview app, then you can also choose it from there.
Oh, so it's in the UHL package.
Yeah, so if you have downloaded the preview app, that's actually a tool.
So you can also just type in from there.
Yeah, just type in, you got the order there. Yeah, you just type in, this is a simple. You just launcher.play and launcher.compass.
So just type in the...
Yeah, just this hook segments and add it to the location where you want to trigger the haptics.
So then the second method is to connect directly, then you just press the play button for the
Yeah, the press of the play button is the trigger event. You can
Also, that means then you appear the program or the application appear here, is it?
Yeah.
No, because just you say click then click then the application will be here. So whatever that you are doing it here will be displayed here.
Oh,
yeah, that one I didn't quite catch.
You know, so see that I'm developing an app here, and if they highlight this project and should run, run here. Actually, it will look for any device. If we found, yeah, it will look for a device open. If we found that there is a device open and it allows you to debug, it will just download the SDK here, install it, and then you run it. Yeah, that's automatic.
Because I tried before is another method. Because I use another IDE, they have to have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I think this is the latest one for it. It's actually bundle all the things you need. And in the old days, you have to download SDKs and then set something up, install EDT, and then it's more troublesome. But the latest one,
just
you have a no. This automatic thing is in the old days. It is automatically starts from the old days that you have to, but in the old days you have to set up the more troublesome, but it still is manageable, but it's just more steps. But now you have the Eclipse bundle together, all the things you need, and then you just download it, extract it, and then you start doing development and you just press the play button. If you have a true device or real device, you will download it. And if not, then it will ask you to create a virtual device. It's just the same as the old days.
Probably my one I use it. Because first time I tried it, but that is
oh, that's totally different. Yeah, Symbian is another one.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah.
All this more
iPhone 那个其实iPhone 它本身不让你就是控制它这个程度，它只是没有它没有提供那个接口去让那个它只是说你可以把它打开，然后
做一些简单的。
对啊，就根本就不给你做任何变化。没办法，就是我们也不能，所以没办法做。所以已经在 iPhone 上面，就是你知道 iPhone 它是 closed source，所有东西也是 black box，是它不给我们做就不能做。所以就是 Android 就是说它就是open source 的话，可以extend 它的 其实我们 Symbian 发的，他们给我，但是那个平台我想说是可能现在是因为自己的对，这个 Symbian 已经 officially 死掉了，有点差。
那如果它同样也是那个 Java 平台的话，那如果说我们把它跑去像其他类似的，像 BlackBerry 还是什么，可以做吗？
其实如果你能接通它底层的那些东西，对，你能接通它底层的那个工具版，其实我们有做过可以来的Symbian是可以录的，就是 Windows Mobile 的一些应用，只要你是它给你工具，它有震动强度、震动的那个时长，就是这主要是震动这个
最后一个问题就是，如果利用公司的那个这个 SDK 的话，有没有给授权啊、收费在没有？
用 SDK 是收费是收一些手机生产厂家，这些品牌啊，就是如果是做 App Direct， 不收钱，但是我们就是可能希望你给我们 credit， 就是说，对，你用过我们，你用的我们的写完，你加一句说 hours by marketing technology， something like that。 No, you get vibrations, but the vibration is probably not as good as those ones with gamma.
So the one is just a simulation, it's not
I would say it's an emulation. It is actually using the vibration, the fixed strength vibration is different strength. So yeah, if you know about the pulse width modulation, you know that if you use a different frequency of pulse width or different pulse width to do the cycle, then you will be able to actually simulate a different strength level.
very close to the actual with the device, with the actual.
Actually both devices got probably the same hardware. You just got different software and algorithm. They may also get an LA in it. S3 they also get an LA in the same type of motor. So they would be able to do the same quality of effect. But it's just the algorithm behind it, or up to the one. They don't have our solution in it, so they can generate the haptics, but probably the quality is not the same as
So it's not so much on the hardware itself, it's actually because of the
no, let me put it this way. The hardware is the most important, it's the motor selection. You select a good motor, then the life will be much easier. And if you select a lousy motor, then you can make it as good as possible, but it will never do any magic. Yes, and so that's the hardware. But if you have no control on the hardware, then it comes from software. And we because our software is not just generating the waveform pattern, but we also have some algorithm to work with different type of motor, which will be generating the optimal effects.
So when we develop this app, do you have to really take into consideration which target model we are looking at?
So if you're using a UHL, then you don't care about that much. Because that's actually one of the big purposes we have to UHL out. Because we have already fine-tuned for different types of model. We can try to make it similar. And so if you're the app developer, we want you to focus on whether you want haptics and where would you like to put it and what kind of haptics you want to put in. So instead of how good is its payout or how good is the manifested motor, because we have taken care of that. For the developer, we just focus on getting haptics, work with your app and enrich the experience. Yeah, let's have a lunch.